Hello. I'm going to do a quick one about this morning's terror attack in Belgium. Just briefly. So for quite a while, the media was trying to do everything they could to avoid saying it was a terror attack. It was all very much like, yeah, he said Allahu Akbar, but at the moment we can't rule out terrorism and stuff like that. It was so obvious it was terrorism. Comes out that his name, though, is Benjamin Herman, so he's not Mohammed, and he is a Belgium, but he's a criminal, and he's been radicalised in prison. So it's probably even worse, I would say, because this is... An enemy can come from anywhere now. You take a guy who's a criminal, let's assume he's not necessarily the nicest guy in the world, you put him in a prison with some very, very fundamental guys that are telling him all sorts of stuff, this it's the Western corrupt, world, you got to bring them down. I mean, they really get inside their heads, radicalise them. Some guys that go into prison, I believe, go in there for some easier porridge, so to speak. They'll convert to Islam inside, they'll go through the rituals of prayers and, give up bacon and what have you. But when they get out, they're straight down a pub for some beers and some bacon sandwiches. So, but prisons should be segregated. If you want to cut down the number of radicals, segregate the prisons, because then at least you'll only have Muslims in some and then all others in another one. But obviously it's peaceful religion. Why would you need to? So then, 3 people have been killed. I don't imagine this will be in the news for very long. In fact, the biggest story today seems to be a tattoo on a footballer's leg. So this is what I want to talk about here. This is when there are big attacks. What's happened in the past is you get these. I've got 4 excuses. Right, so not all Muslims. We know that. That's the one. Number 1, not all Muslims are terrorists. Of course they're not. Can you imagine if 1.6 billion terrorists constantly trying to kill us? Fuck's sake. So we know that. Yes, we know. But pretty much all terrorists are Muslim. That's your rebuttal. Second one, Islam is a religion of peace. So your rebuttal just has to be, here's a Quran, read that. Actually read it, or just read them some verses. I mean, there's over 100 verses that are, telling them instructions to kill or hurt, gays, kafirs, that's just unbeliever, apostates, adulterers. It just goes on and on. It's definitely not as peaceful as they are saying. They'll then say, but the Old Testament was just as bad. And the Old Testament might even be worse. Don't get upset, anyone. I haven't finished yet. But when was the last time that some Christian parents took an unruly child to the edge of town and stoned him or her to death? It hasn't happened very much lately. I haven't seen anything. And I'm sure if it did happen, we haven't got a media blackout on Christians committing crime, so we would have probably heard about it. And the other thing is that they created the Bible too, the New Testament. And the main guy, Jesus, he's a pretty fantastic guy. The idea of using his example as a way to live your life, if everyone tried to live their life like Jesus, the world would be awesome. It'd be very nice, very hippie. He might be a bit communist by today's standards, sorry. But for God's sake, nice guy. Mohammed, horrible, cuts off heads, rapes little children. So that's your rebuttal to that. And then the other one is, but this guy was a bad Muslim because he was a drinker and he went to strip clubs, like the ones that flew into the towers here. Like, I'm not sure whether that was, by the way. Watched a bit of David Icke and I ain't sure. But anyway, lots and lots of jihadis that kill themselves or get killed through propagating Islam are bad Muslims. Most of them, in fact, I don't know if there are that many really devout ones. I'm sure there are. I'm sure I've got that wrong. But anyway, don't correct me. Whatever. Correcting myself now. The point is, there's a verse in the Quran that says, no matter how bad Muslim you are, all you have to do is die through jihad. You're guaranteed paradise. Guaranteed. You don't have to There's no sort of hanging around. There's no waiting room to find out whether or not you've been good enough. You died through jihad. In you go. 72 virgins. Knock yourself out. So, I still say 72 virgins. I ain't sure about that. I think 50 porn stars, 20 housekeepers, and actually a couple of blokes, really, to talk to, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be pretty... You imagine it, 72 women giving it all that, all day long. Fucking hell, make me a sandwich, love. Trigger warning there, misogynist in the area. But anyway, so that was that's my thoughts on it, and those are the rebuttals to do, because this is the new season. We've got eat, sleep, jihad, repeat, and that's this video over. If you like this one, give us a thumbs up and subscribe.